Welcome everybody out tonight to the All Good City Council meeting scheduled for March the 14th, 2017. We'll start by calling the meeting to order and calling roll.
Honorable Mayor Bilbrey.
Present.
Honorable Vice Mayor Dyer.
Present.
Honorable Councilwoman Norris.
Present.
Honorable Councilman Hurd.
Present.
Our invocation will be led by Bill Matheny. If you would, sir, approach the podium.
Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, Lord, as we humbly bow tonight, we're so thankful, Lord, for the many blessings of another day of life, for all your love towards us, for hearing and answering our prayers. We thank you for Jesus most of all. We pray tonight, Lord, you look down. And Lord, we pray for those that are sick, wherever they might be, in the hospitals and rest homes, that you reach down, Lord, and touch your bodies and heal them fit your will. We ask you, Lord, to comfort those that's lost their loved ones. Give them strength to go on day to day. Fill that emptiness and that void in their heart and life. Lord, we pray to Heavenly Father for our nation, dear God, that we turn back to you. Lord, we pray to Heavenly Father that you just bless this service here tonight, Lord, that this council meeting, dear God, that it'll be done according to your holy word. 1 Corinthians 14 and 40 declares, dear God, that all things be done decently and in order. And back in verse 33, it says that God is not the author of confusion. Have your will and way, and your blessings be upon this service here tonight. We give you the praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Mr. David Judd, one of the officers of the fire department. Dave, if you would, come on up to the podium.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on our agenda tonight is to consider the agenda and the minutes. I think everybody's had a chance to look at the agenda. I'd like to make any changes to that.
I'd like to add an item to ratify and discuss the termination of Ms. Karen and Ms. Vaughn.
Okay. Okay, we got that added. Is anything else? Okay. If not, that made the changes being made. Do I have a motion to accept?
Motion.
Second.
Motion second on the floor. Roll call vote.
Mayor Bilbrey.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer.
Yes.
Honorable Norris.
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Next item is consider approval of minutes of the council meeting held on February the 13th, 2017. I think everybody's had a chance to review that. Is there any changes that need to be made?
Motion on that.
Motion.
Second.
Motion second on the floor. Roll call vote.
Mayor Bilbrey.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer.
Yes.
Honorable Norris.
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Next item, consider approval to suspend the reading Resolution 318-17. Keith, would you like to speak to, let them know what that is?
We'll briefly go over Resolution 318-17. It's just updating the Section 125 benefit plan for the City of Allgood.
Okay. That being said, do I have a motion?
On just a little bit of discussion on that. That's a cafeteria plan that we've gotten into with.
That's correct. The cafeteria plan's been in effect since December 1st, 1999. It allows employees to take a pre-tax exemption on their health insurance before it's taken out of their check. Annually, that's reviewed and made updates to amend it if needed to keep up with federal and state law. And it's due an update, and we're in process of finalizing that tonight with a signature.
That'll save the city some money on tax for insurance and things like that, will it
Yeah,
not?
it keeps our taxable amounts down. It also keeps us in control with state law and federal law to do those things.
Okay.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion second on the floor. Roll call vote.
Mayor Bilbrey.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer.
Yes.
Honorable Norris.
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Next item is consider approval of for sidewalk work not to exceed the budgeted amount of $40,000. Keith, would you like to talk about the bids?
We put out sidewalk bids based on a typical 4x4 sidewalk. by the square foot. For driveway sections, 6 inches thick to keep from having breakup in the driveway. For a curb, to add curb if we needed it in any section. Pedestrian ramps, including truncated domes, and then demolition of any sidewalk that would need to be removed. These were all bid by the square foot, with the exception of pedestrian ramps were bid per ramp, and curb was bid by the linear foot. Affordable driveways bid a typical sidewalk at $2.25 per square foot install, driveway $2.25, curb at $5, pedestrian ramps at $150, demo at $1.25. Adams Contracting out of Kentucky bid a typical sidewalk at $10, driveway at $15, curb at $45, a pedestrian ramp at $800, demo at $10 with an addition that if we would give them a location to dump it, they would do it for $7.50 a square foot. There is one difference here. Affordable Driveway did not include concrete with their price. They only did the construction. Adams Contracting included price, but there is a $7.75 difference per square foot on the Adams. Looking at overall bid for Affordable Driveway, for everything listed, if they did all demo and curbing, would be approximately about $52,000 for 2,000 feet of sidewalk. Adams Contracting, just for a typical sidewalk, 2,000 feet would be near $80,000.
So that's about 40,000 over off of the Adams. So what are we gonna need to do? Cut back, the amount that we're doing? Is that
Well,
what you're-
the way these are bid, we don't have to do, there's not gonna be demo on a lot of it. So with these separated bid prices, we can get the construction done to the full amount of $40,000, and then when we run out of money, we just quit doing any more sidewalk. My estimation is we'll be able to complete at least 2,200 feet, linear feet of sidewalk based on these bid prices.
So basically, we'll just treat that pre-budgeted amount of 40,000 almost like a line item, and when it's exhausted, it's exhausted.
That's correct.
Now, I know we have a sidewalk plan, and I know it's a big plan, and I know it's probably $1 million, if not more, worth of sidewalks. Now, I'm all for pulling out of our $8.25 million savings, and I know we don't need to have to discuss that right now, but I'm all for pulling $250,000 and just busting some sidewalks out and getting some. I mean, this is a wonderful bid by Affordable Driveway. I know it's a $40,000 bid, but we have a lot of money. We could really do a lot of sidewalk work.
Well, with the budget talks coming up pretty soon, I mean, that's something that we can put on there and discuss about what we
Okay.
want to do.
Okay,
By all
sounds
means.
good.
Definitely, and one thing I've got the engineer working on is getting a total price to redo all the sidewalks up to this standard, just to give you an idea of what amount of work needs to be done, so you
Excellent.
can kind of plan for the future, how much we need to do each year and how long it'll take us to get there. And that's going to include some new sidewalk that we're going to need to put in a few areas too.
And I think we're wanting to try to attack the Fourth Avenue project around by, no, it's about 1,700 or 1,800 square feet around through there, from the ballpark all the way to the church below. There, right there where Quinlan Lake comes in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Well, that's a
1,700.
dangerous spot, and I know we've had citizens here, several years in a row wanting to know when they're gonna do the sidewalks, when we got them input somewhere else, so I think that's an excellent idea. Don't wanna leave them out down there.
Is that the first one we're gonna do, or just?
That's the first one on our list. Just work on that one and get as far as we can.
Okay,
Well, I'll make a motion to approve Affordable Driveway for the
Second.
sidewalk work.
motion second on the floor, roll call vote?
Mayor Bilbrey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer,
Yes.
Honorable Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Next item, consider approval to bid out the 2016-17 fiscal year audit. Ask Keith to put this on there. When you look at the IRS standards, they say that we shouldn't use the same auditor over and over again. This pool company, I'm sure, has done a good job in the past. He has noticed some things where we fell short. We've tried to correct those. I just think it's time that we take a fresh look. We also had a petition that went around with several hundred people that wanted an independent audit. This might be able to satisfy that petition, as well as getting a fresh pair of eyes to look at this. Of course, it's open for discussion at this point. What do you think?
I think it's always good to have an overlook, and I know it's gonna cost a little more, maybe 3,000-4,000, maybe even 5 to 6, from what I recollect from the past. But oversight is good. It may not be a difference, though we may get some different ideas. It's always to use, that's why we have a council, using more than one person to make a decision. We have, more heads and more more of the community input. The more you have looking at something, the better opinion and ideas you're gonna get.
Well, I've got no issue with bidding it out whatsoever. I mean, compile a list of people who, show an interest, and then this council pick out the one that we think is necessary or is the best candidate and go from there. I've got no issue with that at all.
Okay. Any other discussion on it? All right, I make a motion that we put it out for bids.
I'll second that.
We have a second, Vice Mayor. Roll call vote?
Mayor Bilbrey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer,
Yes.
Honorable Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Next item, consider approval for appointment of city recorder position to be, Keith, you want to speak to that?
Just wanted to put this on there and see if we had some direction on how you wanted to handle this, or if you wanted to continue with the temporary breakdown of positions like we've got it right now. We've divided the work up among the employees, including myself and the office staff. And so this office staff is handling these duties right now and doing an excellent job. Just want to see if you all had any idea of how you wanted to proceed from here, if you want to continue that way right now.
How do you feel about it? Put an ad in the paper, just like any business would do, an interview, and what do you think?
Well, there's different options we can do. I mean, we could make that position a part-time position. We could take part of that pay and split it up between the dedicated employees that has taken on extra responsibilities, to include Keith. I know Miss Ann was one that's pulled back towards the back now, trying to take up some extra stuff, and I think that leaves Brooklyn up there sometimes by herself. We could hire another employee. I'd talk to Keith about that to see what would best fit the city, and of course, he said he was open to work with whatever we came up on.
Now, I personally have found that if you have an employee that's been there a long time, then you realize the duties that she's doing, and you break them up amongst your other employees. I found it to be, we realize how much that employee is actually hiding, or I say hiding, but not doing, and you find out how easy the job is after you break it and let it, put it out amongst other employees. So I'm game for that.
Complacency is always something, I think, that can play a part in anybody's position, and we don't want that to be an issue here at the city, especially since we've had some other issues going on here and just currently right now we're trying to deal with. That would give your employees that are working here, that's taking up the slack, a little extra incentive to do what they're doing. I think that just shows good teamwork when they jump right in and they go right ahead and take off for the betterment of the citizens and for the city. That speaks highly.
Well, I do believe it is a full-time position. I honestly believe that with everything that's entailed with the job. And I do throw accolades toward the folks that have taken up the slack thus far. And even speaking in that regard, I believe people should be compensated for the work that they have done or are presently doing, and even to the point of, if they are doing even more than their normal job requirements. And with that said, I've even got no issue with compensating the folks even a little bit more on their regular salary for taking up this extra slack, because it's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of back and forth to do, and having just been in and out, I've watched the employees downstairs, and they do stay busy. It's a nonstop process, especially certain times of the day, and then the city recorder's position put in on top of it. So
Well, we agree on part of that, where you said that they ought to be compensated for the extra work. Where do you propose that comes from? Because these budgets are pretty much locked in where they are. We both agree they need to be compensated.
Mhm.
But taking that position, if you take that position, make it a part-time, you've got the funds to distribute between the employees that are working, where if you don't take that position, then where are you gonna come up with those funds?
Well,
Propose that
at
we
the
do that.
present rate that position was being paid, anyone that you hire to a full-time position right there, you don't have to start them out at the existing pay. I mean, you can start them out to, at a base that we could all agree upon, but you're still budgeted enough dollars to cover this extra compensation for these other employees.
What would you consider to start them out at? Do you know what the current one makes now?
If I'm not mistaken, 26?
It is
Okay.
$26 an hour. So that's pretty hefty.
It is. I would like to make it.
Well, I would too, but not going to happen. But that's what I'm saying is, when you take an employee that's making $26 an hour and that person leaves and then other folks absorb that, we've got to come up with somewhere where to pull that money from to pay these folks.
I agree.
And tie it up in a budget. You can't just pull it out of the air and say, hey, we're going to do it here.
Agreed again. If you lower that starting pay to, Keith, what are we talking about, 3 employees?
That's correct.
That's correct?
Mhm.
So if you hire a full-time employee, let's say at 20, you could give those 3 an extra 2, and there's your difference.
What about breaking the duties down? I found, I'm not mentioning names, but, I've had an employee that did a 2-hour, I found to be an hour and a half job in a 10-hour day. a 10-hour day. So they, I found I could do it in an hour and a half.
Mhm.
Why don't we break the duties down and see which duties are distributed and see which ones are left, see which ones Keith would like to, add along with all the other
Mhm.
things that he does, and the other employees that accept those duties, and see what is left and what they can handle, see if it is a part-time job or a full-time job.
You
Keith,
good
how you
with that?
feel?
Some of the issues going to be the charter addresses who has to do certain positions. The city recorder has to do court clerk. They have to record minutes here, which is what I'm doing tonight. The only other issue I foresee with splitting those up is figuring out who the third check signer is. The city recorder is the third check signer, along with the vice mayor and the mayor. And those separation of duties has to be watched very closely to ensure we meet state standards for audit, and that we separate those as best we can, which we have done at this point, and ensure that monitoring is occurring on those. Those are the only things I would point out. The current city recorder that left was making $27.73 an hour with her hourly rate.
Okay.
Odd.
So what do we do a study to see if it's needed for a full-time position or not needed for a full-time position? What do you?
Well, how's Ann doing, Keith?
Ann and Marlon have helped me split the duties as far as city recorder. They've pulled a lot of slack and done a lot of extra work and really pulled together and doing a good job. Brooklyn has pulled up and started taking over some of the duties up front to allow Ann to do the additional duties that are being done in the back office. And the girls are working really well and pulling together and really pulling a lot of extra load right now. So
Okay. Well,
Amber alert.
stand by. We'll let everybody get their phones taken care of. Okay. All right. So where do we go from here? John, what do you think?
Well, as far as the first question that comes to mind is a city recorder required under any municipal law? I don't know the answer to that. It would surprise me if there was a requirement, but again, I'm not sure. The second question is the one that's already been brought up, the required obligations under the charter for the city administrator. In the meantime, who would handle those? If there would need to be an amendment to that charter, if you all did decide to break those duties up. All something that can be worked out, it's just gonna be based on, is there any requirement for a city recorder? Beyond that, whatever you all wanna do is something that would be manageable.
Is Ann qualified?
all the employees would be qualified. There'd be some extra schools that have to go to meet certain certifications each year that are required, like the court clerk has to meet certain certification requirements and other things. We're working on achieving those now to ensure that we continue to stay in compliance and meet what we need to. I would ask at least right now, if you all are considering studying this, that the girls at least get a little bit of additional compensation to help offset the extra work they're taking on at this time.
That's my comment regarding the compensation. I have no issue with that whatsoever. I don't think we should go way overboard, but I do believe they need to have something. Keith, did you have a figure in mind, a number in mind for each of these ladies? Or?
I would think at least $1 or $2 an hour for the
Right.
ladies, each one.
Yeah, yeah. That we could, like I said, that we could actually make the starting rate of pay if we decide to hire a city recorder at
20.
At the 20 range, and you've still got that extra money left over that's already been budgeted, would come out of this budget year, and you could apply it to each of those three ladies,
Okay.
equally and individually. Is that agreeable with y'all?
All right. Well, I make a motion that while studying this, we increase the pay for those 3 employees. Before I make that motion, what about Keith? Keith's taking on a lot
Oh, I
here
agree.
as well.
I agree.
We don't need to leave Keith out either.
Right.
Keith's taking a lot of heat, with what's going on with everything, and I'm sure citizens here know exactly, a lot of that already, and there's a lot of them that they don't know that's happening, that I think that he needs to be compensated for as well. What would you do? Would you make a motion for him, or have a suggestion on his side?
$2 to $4.
What?
$2 to $4 a raise?
You say $4?
$4.
I think that's what he said.
$4, okay. All right, well, I'll make a motion for those 3 employees, $2 an hour increase, and $4 for Keith. And a motion.
Second.
Motion second on the floor, roll call vote?
You made the motion, Dr. Hurd made the second.
Yes.
Mayor Bilbrey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer,
Yes.
Honorable Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Okay. Consider approval to seek outside legal advice from Rader Mower Fitzpatrick's office regarding council vacancies. With the ongoing investigations that's been going on, I had Keith to put this on to know which members can vote on this and which ones can't. There's some that I felt like that were involved in this, and there's actually documented portions of that. I just want to make sure that we're on the up and up. If there's a conflict, that it's disclosed. And that's something that I asked him to place on there. Is there any other discussion on that?
Is it necessary and to seek counsel to replace?
Well,
Or is it trying to figure out how to replace?
Was not on, yeah, it's just for legal advice to see who can vote on it, because normally it wouldn't be necessary.
Can John give us that advice?
Well, not being the city attorney, he can't. You have to seek outside legal advice to do that. He would represent the council. But normally, the normal way or the appropriate way would be any conflict would be disclosed, and if there was a conflict, those people wouldn't vote. With the investigations that's going on and still going on currently, there's some of the council members that may or may not be tied up in that, and we don't want to show here to any of the citizens that we're trying to hide anything or somebody's trying to vote in a way that they shouldn't be voting. It's just trying to show that, hey, we're cleaning house, sweeping our own floors, and we're not putting anything under a rug. Everything's out in the open, and that's where it should be.
Carolyn?
Well, on a couple of occasions during that comment, you said possibly some council members involved. I mean, do we have evidence of that?
Well, that's what I was saying. We're investigating that, and it had to be the ones I was referring to was council members. If not, they can't vote, so it had to be us.
Right?
Okay. But yeah, there is a documented case where one was inserted in the other part, and I can get you copies of that.
I would appreciate that very much.
I'd like to have a copy.
Yep, we'll provide it to you. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion and second. Okay. Roll call vote.
Mayor Bilbrey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer,
No.
Honorable Norris,
No.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Motion fails for vote. Consider approval of Resolution 3/1817, updating the Section 125 cafeteria plan for the city employees.
Now, this is just an update to our cafeteria plan that has been in effect since December 1st of 1999. It does require amendments to keep up to date, especially with all the new healthcare laws in effect. It does match all of our current insurance offerings in our plan, and it just reinforces those plans and allows the pre-tax to be taken out on the health insurance. And this has to be signed and returned to our insurance carrier to ensure that we remain compliant with state and federal law.
Okay.
Motion.
A motion on the floor.
I'll second it.
Motion second on the floor. Roll call vote.
Mayor Bilbrey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer,
Yes.
Honorable Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Consider approval of agreement with military for potential training site to be held here. Keith, would you like to speak to that?
The United States Marine Corps had asked for a memorandum of understanding. They are looking at state of Tennessee for possible training sites within the next 3 years. They would come in, do a training here with their staff. They would notify the necessary government officials so that we would be aware of what IDs and badges to look for. And other than that, you probably wouldn't even know they were here. In the event something did happen, that a citizen walked into the middle of it, or one of our officers came in contact with one of these officials, we would know what their identifying credentials are and how to deal with that. This is just saying that we understand that they could be training here and that we are in agreement and will allow that.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion, I'll second. Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Bilbrey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer,
Yes.
Honorable Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Next item is to ratify the termination of the city recorder and meter reader. I think Dr. Hurd, you want to speak to that?
These young ladies, believe we should give them back pay from when they were terminated to this day forward, and then the city council will make a decision on how to address the situation from here on out.
Okay, you say continue with the termination, is that what you're saying, or vote for termination, or what are you
Vote-
saying?
I'd like to vote for termination.
Vote for termination.
What did
Okay.
you say about back pay?
To, I think we should give them back pay for the times, from any back pay that they're, haven't been here from this day.
From the day they were
From-
terminated up to this point? Is that what you're saying?
From this day to the past, yes.
To the day they were terminated? Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? So the motion on the floor is to ratify the termination of the city recorder, the public works. Termination continues, and to pay back pay from the point that they were terminated to now.
Yes.
Okay. I'll second that. We got a motion and a second on the floor. Roll call vote?
Mayor Bilbrey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer,
Yes.
Honorable Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay. That brings us to the city administrator's report.
The budget comparative is 66.67%. General fund revenues are at 60.01% at $2,188,178.63. General fund expenses are at 41.59%. That's $1,590,290.16. Water sewer revenues are at 69.3%. That's $1,087,159.04. Water sewer expense is at 62.04%. That's $979,489.06. Total account balances as of today are $8,629,844.66. Burton Branch construction is underway. A lot of the water line has been installed. They're working on some electrical lines and moving some other things. Director Jones, did you have anything to add to that? 2017-2018 budget, just a preliminary, was released to you all with updated numbers through February. If you'll tell me what projects and what capital outlay items you want in that budget, and give me an idea of where you want the dollar amount to be, I'll start, you can email that to me and I'll start trying to finalize this and get it ready for a presentation to give you some numbers and see where we want to cut and add and what you all had in mind to do. The Main Street paving project, I've met with our engineer. The idea was thrown out to look at doing a turn lane from Riley's Path all the way out to Burton Branch, down the middle, and have 2 full lanes with shoulder, giving a full turn lane all the way from Burton Branch all the way down into town to Riley's Path. I haven't got that number back. We are reviewing the Walmart red light area. It's going to have new loops put in for the red light, and we are reviewing the possibilities of how to repave that to make sure we address the heavy truck traffic that is on that and don't get the buckling effect again that we're getting now. There is a heavier pavement that we think we can use that will address that. The rough estimate right now, just to grind and repave the street back to Riley's Path, just like it is with loops, is somewhere in the range of $250,000 to $275,000. I have not gotten the estimate back to add the 3rd turn lane, so I'm working on getting that number so that we can look at how we want to proceed with this.
And if nothing else, Keith, we might consider, even if we don't do a turn lane all the way to Riley's Path, at least a portion of the way, possibly, maybe just extend it, if nothing else, just to Elm Street right now,
We
or a little bit further.
We can do that. As soon as I have the numbers, I'll give them to you and see if there's anything else you want me to review on that. Going through this process may delay the project a little. We may have to push it over into July or August to get this completed, but whatever numbers you want me to gather, I'll pull them together and present them to you and see where we go from there.
Well, I'm just trying to think ahead a little bit as far as 4 or 5 years down the road, because we know how that area is zoned at this point. So if it's a potential helper for commercially zoned property, then I think we need to consider it anyway.
Right.
It wouldn't involve buying any other property. We've got the property down
We
through
already
there, right?
own, well, there'd be a
All the way
few
down
little
through.
areas we might have to buy some right-of-way. The sidewalk, when it was put in, was set back in preparation for this possible phase. So the sidewalk wouldn't be affected. There would be a little bit of right-of-way, and that's what we're trying to work on the estimates for now to figure out what that would be.
All right.
Fire hall is continuing through the engineering phase. John, did you have an update on the contract yet?
As far as the fire hall goes.
Okay. And then water, sewer, and sanitation rates, we talked about briefly last month. You all talked about a couple options, but never gave me any direction. Did you have anything on that you all want to discuss, or you want to get back to me on it? And that was water, sewer, tap fees. Let me clarify that. And commercial sanitation rates.
That's the one where we had like 3 different rates, one for inside, outside, and
Right.
the mountain, right?
Yeah.
And it's currently, we're doing what, would you say the taps is 600 and?
I don't have it in front of me right now. It's
680?
$625 for a sewer tap.
$875 outside the city and $1,200 for both.
I can present another presentation to you and lower the increase and see where you all want to go with that.
How about if we put that on the agenda for next month, and then unless
Yeah.
you got some?
I agree. At what point, and of course, everybody knows that water and sewer cannot show a deficit. It must always show a positive. So how close are we to being running in a negative pattern on these fees, Keith?
I think last year, what was the profit line? Do you remember exactly? I'd have to look back. I want to think we were in the $20,000 to $30,000 profit range, maybe.
And we had a 30% increase in.
Right. The
in
parts
the
cost,
Parts and
if
stuff.
have increased at least 30%
Yeah.
due to the no lead and the new requirements. And we haven't went up on tap fees since at least 2008, 2009.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Yeah, I think if you'll present those at next month's meeting, because we need to make a decision on that and include it in this year's budget coming up, so. Or, excuse me, 2017-18 budget.
Okay.
department head.
Okay. If there's nothing else, this brings us to the hearing of the citizens and/or delegations. If you would like to speak, please approach the podium, directing your comments directly to the chair. Okay.
Hello,
Hello.
my name is Linda Bennett, and I'm the spokesperson for the All Good Citizens Action Committee. This is a group of taxpayers who have not been treated too well by this committee, with the exception of Dr. Hurd. He's always treated us nice. Okay? People have told us that they were afraid to speak out because of retaliation, and with good reason. Everyone here was blackmailing everybody else. And the chief had a dossier that he was keeping on the action committee. And I want to ask you tonight if we can have that dossier.
Do you know what they're?
I'll have to try to find it. Are you talking about the notebook that was put in the
Find
picture?
out this.
Yeah, I can look for it. I'll have to find out where it's at, though.
This, well, see, what my problem was, somebody from the committee or who was telling this chief of police to keep a dossier on the Citizens Action Committee? Was somebody telling him to do that? That's my problem. And he stood up in a meeting and demanded all the names of the Action Committee at one of your meetings. So, this is city records. If he did it on city time and he used city equipment, these are public records. These are city records. And we want it because it's about us. We don't deserve that. We never committed crimes and done bad things and tried to hide. Came right up here, talked to you all the time, right up front. So we want that. And no city council member should be afraid to have legal counsel advice if you weren't involved in any of the scandals. Why would you be afraid to have legal advice? You sat here and voted against that. If you weren't involved in it, you shouldn't be afraid of it. Okay? And the last statement I'd like to make was the Action Committee was trying for 4 years to show you guys how much waste was going on in that police department, how bad that police department was ran. 1/3 of all these taxpayers' budget was spent on the police department to do activities that's been uncovered the way they were handling themselves. That's not right. That's not right. This is not what the citizens deserve. You need to please keep draining the swamp.
Okay, I'd like to respond. Ms. Bennett, you'd made one statement. You said everybody was blackmailing everybody. Now, I can't say for the rest of the council, but as the mayor, that's incorrect. I did not blackmail anybody, nor
Well-
will I ever do that.
Well,
Neither did I, ma'am.
it must have been brought out that you didn't know any of these things that were going on. But it's been going on for 4 years. Everybody telling you it. Everybody had films, movies, pictures, recordings. Everybody knew it.
When I got it was last Thursday night, was whenever I saw
So
that.
they did a good job covering it all up, didn't they?
Well, evidently did, and if somebody had it, they should have brought it forward. And that's an issue I've got. Some of these recordings was from 2013.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody's had these recordings since 2013, by all means, bring it forward. Don't sit back and talk about it if you can't bring the proof up.
They're
And that's where I'm at right now. I've always been one. I hear it coming in one ear and coming in the other side. Show me proof. Anybody can say anything, but without proof. That's what we wish they had done before, is if they had this, brought that proof forward.
Yeah.
Then we could have moved forward quicker than
And
we
if
did.
they were covering up, then they're complicit.
Mm-hmm.
And they
That-
could be complicit in illegal activity before it's all over with.
That's
The
true.
people that were covering up for the police officers or anybody else involved in this were complicit in it.
That's correct. And the investigation, we hope to get to the bottom of that.
Okay.
So to be transparent, to show everybody what actually happened, and that we don't want that or condone that.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Next. Ma'am.
My name is Crystal Lindy, and in regards to what she has stated, in regards to the police department and all the things bad that has happened, I think everybody should take responsibility for their own actions. You plastered Gary Harris on News Channel 4, and it's a private investigation, and everybody wants to sweep it under the rug right now, but it's all over News Channel 4, so hey, it's public record. These are older videos, right?
That's my understanding. They are
Okay, they're older videos.
Mhm.
What does that have to do with what's going on right now? Why is he being suspended for actions that, videos that were taken by an ex that was mad at him? It's too much childish stuff going on, and when this stuff is plastered on Channel 4, this city looks like a joke. It looks like a joke. I wanted to laugh so hard I about peed my pants watching this on the news. This is, it's an embarrassment. You know what? I have worked with a few of the officers that work here right now. I would trust my life with every one of them versus the ones that worked here before. There's a lot of them here that have busted their hind end, and here they are on News Channel 4. Why not be grateful? One of them got shot. Unfortunately, don't work here anymore. But you know what? Think about the stuff they do. Y'all are getting way ahead of trying to make this town much bigger instead of focusing on what's going on inside here and wanting to say, oh, he said, she did this, he did this. Who cares? Grow up. That's all you got to do. Grow up, work together. This pay raise for this person, that person. If you grow up and actually start thinking about everybody else and not what he and she's doing outside here, then maybe y'all would have a whole department that would be just so excited to be here. They'd love to go out here and say hi to all you people that live here in Allgood. But no, every one of you are complaining about everything that these officers are doing, and I'm telling you, I wouldn't want to walk out this door right now if somebody was against me without these officers here. They do a darn good job. And whatever goes on behind closed doors, this is a council meeting, right? It needs to be coming out, right?
Correct.
Not, oh, we need to wait. We need to push this away. We need to think about what you have here that you've not been able to vote on, and not worried about what you can dig up on people from the past. That's the problem. There's too much of things from way in the past that people are trying to dig up. Personally, I know Gary Harris and his whole family have been raised up in law enforcement. What better does he know? But everybody wants to complain about how he's doing his job. I think he's done a darn good job bringing up officers that actually, honestly, I would have never worked with before in my life, to the ones that are here now that I would give anything to work with. Am I wrong?
One place you are wrong, and that is that the city did not release any of this information. That information to News Channel 4, News Channel 5 was released by attorney Brett Knight. We had no control over that. He doesn't represent us. We had the stuff dumped in our lap, which showed a lot of stuff that was not only unbecoming of an officer, that was possibly illegal. The DA is looking into that. So to be out here discussing it with you or any other member,
But it can be
of
on the news.
citizen, we can't. If Brett Knight
That right
releases
there
it,
just totally ruined your investigation. It's on the news. It's
we
public.
didn't release any. I didn't release any of that. He's
Officer
not releasing
Medlin, his little pictures he sent around, things
That-
like that. Yeah,
that-
that's public record now.
That's open. That is subject to open record. That is a totally different investigation. That is associated than what Gary Harris is.
If you really think about it, it's all going to bind together, because it's this person trying to get back at this person.
You're
That's
right.
exactly how it is.
You're right.
That's why I say, grow up.
That's why we're making changes now.
Well, I think the best interest in this city would to be, like I said, grow up. Start thinking about how these officers have actually benefited the city and not try to figure out what they've done back in their past. Who cares? You hired them after this happened, after these videos. It was actually after the fact that he was hired.
Gary Harris's?
Yes.
You're incorrect again. He was the
I beg
chief,
to
and in the
differ.
video it says he didn't want it to come out because he was the chief.
I beg to differ.
Get you a copy of the video.
I can do that. I guess I go to Channel 4 because y'all are so good with turning in videos there and blaming it on other people.
We didn't turn it, but you can tell. They'll tell you who brought it. Okay. Next. Okay. If not,
Move adjournment.
all right. Motion second.